7 o'clock, we'll open the meeting. All the selectmen are present. We'll start by transmitting Treasury warrant 31, 31A, 32, and 32A.
Move the warrant as read by the chairman.
Second?
Motion made and second. All in favor? Unanimous? We got 2 meeting minutes to approve. We'll take them together unless there's any questions for January 10th, 2011 and January 31st, 2011.
Move to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Motion made and second. All in favor? Unanimous? We'll start with our 7 o'clock appointment with Janet Ingram, chairperson, strings attached, Parent Support, Inc. Recent request for a one-day alcohol license for a dinner show to raise funds for strings attached to be held on Saturday, March 5th, 2011, 6 p.m. to midnight at the Villanova Hall. Janet, you can sit right up there. How are you tonight?
I'm well, thanks. How about yourself?
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Go.
Strings Attached Parent Support, Inc. is a parent group that supports our 425 strings musicians here in Wilmington. And we are hoping to obtain a one-day liquor license to help raise funds for our children for their performance, travel, and activities, as well as to supplement the budget in areas that the school department can't. We're presently in the process of purchasing 3 new basses for the orchestra, as well as supporting 71 students who will be traveling to Austria during April vacation, and also allowing students in younger grades to accumulate funds in their accounts, so when it comes time for either international trips or local trips, performance activities, they will have funds to draw from right within the Strings organization. And we try to offer the families as many opportunities as we can to help to raise those funds. And so we have this opportunity where Tony Bova, who is the owner of a semi-professional theater company called Bova Productions, he has very generously donated a show to us. Again, he did one at Christmas time, and this is a Lost in the 50s. So we would like to take advantage of that to help raise funds for the children, as well as if we could have the one-day liquor license. All proceeds that come from the liquor license on that night would also go to support the funds of the children.
Excellent, thank you. Are there
Thank
any
you.
recommendations from department heads?
We have a recommendation from the police chief who indicates that upon review, they recommend approval of the one-day alcohol license submitted and described by Mrs. Ingram on behalf of Strings Attached Parent Support, Inc.
I just have one question. What's the P.O. Box?
483.
Any other questions or comments or motion from the board?
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we grant the one-day liquor license for Strings Attached dated March 5th, 2011, 6 p.m. to midnight at Villanova Hall. And I know it's been the tradition of the board to just waive the fee.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor? Unanimous? Good luck.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your support.
Okay, our 7:05 appointment was with Richard Hill, President, Wilmington Little League. The request to conduct a parade on Saturday, April 23rd, 2011, from Town Common to Rotary Park in conjunction with opening day ceremonies. Mr. Hill, how are you tonight?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
Wilmington Little League would like to continue the tradition that started a couple of years ago of having an opening day parade. We stage all the players at the Swain School parking lot. At 9:30, we head out of the parking lot and go down Church Street to Rotary Park, where we have opening day ceremonies. It's been a great success over the last couple of years. Everybody has lots of fun, and we'd like to have permission from the town to keep that going.
Okay, are there any recommendations?
No objections from...
No objection.
Right.
Questions, comments, or a motion from the board?
I have a basic comment. I hope that the snow is melted by the 23rd.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Seriously, I think spring sports are going to be challenged this year just because
Yeah,
of the
so
volumes.
we are looking to do that on the 23rd, and our snow date, rain date is the 30th.
Right on. It's a great event.
Excellent.
That said, Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that we approve the Wilmington Little League opening day parade on Saturday, April 23rd, with a rain date of April 30th.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second, all in favor? It's unanimous? Thank you, good luck.
Thank you very much.
If you want to go. You want to do it now? Yeah, you can do it now.
Go ahead, okay. Okay, our 7:15 is with Joe Marie O'Mahony, President, and Michelle Bryan, Vice President and Race Director, Women of Wilmington's. Request to conduct a Women of Wilmington first annual Run for Wilmington.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good
I'm going
evening.
to bring you in on a little inside joke, Mr. Shampoo, if you want to pass that along. When Mr. Kyra asked us if we could speak at the Valentine's Day one, I told him that I didn't want Mrs. Kyra to be jealous that he was going to be our Valentine, so we brought just some candies for you guys.
Maybe we shouldn't accept them until after we take the vote,
Yeah,
huh?
we're not trying to bribe you. There's no value to them. We're not trying to bribe you into voting in any way.
This
but
might
we-
sway me.
Yeah, we did want to share some Valentine love with you. Before I ask you, or
Now Jane Ashley will get a present for Valentine's.
yeah, feel free to bring it. I put it in a nice box so you could re-gift it if you needed to. Before I ask you and tell you a little bit about our fundraiser, I just wanted to give you a really quick update. Since I was here in November to tell you about our new group, we're now up to 142 members. We are helping 4 families right now, with a 5th family to be added this week, that we are providing meals that range from 1 meal a week to 3 meals a week for families who are in some type of crisis within Wilmington, whether it be a health issue or just things going on that they need some support and love from us. We're also helping one family with above and beyond meals right now. We just secured space at Villanova Hall. They are gracious enough to give us their attic, or part of their attic, to start our clothing pantry and sports equipment pantry. So that will be coming in March. We're going to start doing donation drives, and hopefully we're initially going to be reaching out to the community fund families that are already receiving help through the food pantry to see if they have any need for clothing. And hopefully with the fundraiser that I'm going to tell you about in May, we're going to be launching our Sponsor a Child program, which will basically be an application process for children in Wilmington who otherwise couldn't afford to do some type of activity or camp or sporting activity. And we're hopefully going to be able to help them with their registration fees, as well as to give them whatever equipment that they would need for that activity. So that's kind of what's on the horizon for the Women of Wilmington, and we're in the very initial stages of talking with the schools about trying to get something in the fall community service program in the middle school, kind of similar to what they have in the high school, but that we can help them with volunteers or funding, assuming we're going to be successful with this May fundraiser. So that's just a little update of how we've been doing. I'm here tonight to tell you a little bit about an idea that we have for a May fundraiser that we're asking for your approval and support. It was actually that I had met with Mr. Kyra last year, and it was what caused Women of Wilmington to actually form. We'd had this idea kind of forming. Wouldn't it be great if we had some type of fundraiser in town that actually supported every nonprofit or charity within Wilmington? And we were banging it around and fleshing it out, and we finally came up with, let's do something in the spring that would be a community road race. And the idea behind this is we don't want to compete with any other road races that are already established within Wilmington. It's one of the reasons why, if you see on your handout, the route that we selected actually is in a different part of Wilmington. It's not, it would be a brand new route to any other race that has happened in Wilmington. It will start and end at the Shawshene School. We do already have approval from Superintendent Benton to use the parking lots. We have Sue Hardiman. We have the permit process working right now, and we've also reached out to the soccer board just to make sure that we're not going to be competing with any soccer games or makeup games, because it will be a Sunday in May, and they have given us their support, and they're also going to make sure that their field house is open for our race to have the facilities available, so that we won't need to actually go into the school for anything. So we're still working on making sure we have everybody sign off within the community. We did reach out to the police. We understand that your approval tonight most likely will be pending, that the route is approved by them, and obviously that we have the appropriate safety personnel for the event as it gets closer, and we will definitely continue to work on that. But the idea behind it is we wanted to do the first annual run for Wilmington. We want to have it on Sunday, May 15th. Right now, the time is 10 a.m., but again, if soccer comes back and said that they already have things scheduled, then we're willing to bump ours to the afternoon. So time to be determined once we get their final okay with what their schedule is going to look like. And the idea behind it is once we have the town's approval, once we have the selectmen's approval, we're going to start reaching out to the nonprofits in town and asking them to create a team. The only commitment they have to give us is that they're going to have a team captain and they're going to have at least 10 members of their team. And each team will fundraise for their entity. So as an example, the educational fund, the Wilmington Educational Program, they will have their own team. And everything that their team raises will go to their organization. So local heroes, the sports and the strings attached. Basically, any entity in the town that's a nonprofit that supports Wilmington can create a team. We're going to create the entire event, so they don't have to do anything to help us with the planning, except have a team that they can then rally to do the fundraising. We're also planning on putting together an informational book where their program, their whatever it is, the organization will have information available to people of Wilmington, to the participants of that day, so that hopefully we'll get the word out about other organizations as well. The registration fee is going to be $25 if you register in advance, $30 the day of the event. We are going to have it officially timed because we do know that that attracts runners who just want to run a 5K in May. We actually have already been approached by different Couch to 5K programs who have asked if it would be okay to have our race be their students' graduation. So we definitely have the support already building, and once we have it officially approved, we plan on reaching out and trying to touch as many organizations within Wilmington as we can. The Women of Wilmington, the registration fee will go to any overhead that we might have, and then that will be our fundraising. So whatever remains from the registration fees will go to the Sponsor Child program, as well as hopefully some other fall ideas that we have. I think that's it. I know I talked a ton.
That's all
I
right.
had
You
some
covered
of
a
that
lot of
chocolate in my
information.
cavities, so.
Very good. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah. What did you say about the graduation? What people are asking you? I didn't follow what you said.
There's a rec program in town, and I believe the Reading YMCA, they're in the process of putting together a spring program where they're going to train. Evidently, they're having people sign up for these classes where they'll train to basically go from their couch to being able to run a 5K. And we've been asked if it would be okay for them, for their students, to actually run the May 15th 5K as their graduation from the class. So it gives them the incentive to actually have a 5K in the books that they're going to participate in. And I forgot to mention, we're also in the process of figuring out a shorter route, like a 1-mile route, because we do know that there are people in town who either might want their children to participate with them or might not be able to run a 5K, and we want to have it so that they can participate that day as well. So one of the things we'll work out with the, once we have the police department and we're working with them, it's the most logical 1-mile route or half-a-mile route on the same track that would make sense.
Is there any receptiveness to folks walking the 5K route rather than run it?
Yep, you don't have to run it. As I said, it will be an officially timed race, but we plan on, having the start as many other races start, that, the runners will take off first, and then we'll have the walkers go, and then we'll have the shorter loop out of the gate last, so that it's open to everybody. We don't want anyone to feel like they can't do it. It's motivation to try to do it if you've never ran a 5K before, but we certainly don't want people to feel like they can't be a part of a team because they might not be able to physically do it. The ideal behind this is that every group will have a team, and that team will raise funds for their group, whether that they're only going to walk down the street and back or whether they're going to run the whole 5K.
Okay. Are there any departments' recommendations yet?
No, Mr. Chairman, if the board approves this, then we would send an approval letter on your behalf, and we would establish, certain criteria with regard to public safety issues and the other that I've discussed with Joe Marie, and that would be included in any permission that the board would give.
Other questions or comments?
I'd just like to extend a special thanks. I think it's great what you and all the members that you putting together that are providing to the town, that are people in need, especially times today. You know, all the way down, people raising families, elderly, just average families that are in need of help, and the you know, the economy's not, you know, getting any better, and the bottom line is that you're giving all that extra effort that I can see what you presented tonight, all the energy you put behind it. Outstanding, outstanding, and I think, you know, this is what people like you that makes Wilmington special. Putting the time, your time into helping other people. And I think, you know, it's a great symbol in generations to come to show that you care, that actually your livelihood is to help other people, other children. And again, thank you for your outstanding achievement.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments or a motion?
Move to grant the request subject to the conditions referenced by the manager.
I'll second.
Motion made, second, all in favor? It's unanimous? Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day again.
Thank you.
Now I got you.
Okay,
Do these if you want.
yeah. We're going to go ahead with the review of annual town meeting warrant articles submitted by petition.
Mr. Chairman, as you indicate, we're just going to review, really by way of notification, the citizen petitions that we received for the 2011 annual town meeting warrant. The deadline was February 4th, and there were 10 citizen petitions submitted, and you and the press have copies of those petitions. So I will just read briefly what they are, and then obviously there'll be time for other discussion, more particularly to hear from the petitioners at the March 15th public hearing. The first petition is submitted by Michael Bodnar and others, and it is to establish a senior citizen tax break that would be dependent upon funding of a new high school. Essentially, the action would be in the event I'm quoting now, in the event at the current town meeting, the voters approve the construction of a new high school and the increase in taxes required to finance the project, the request is that the voters give senior citizens a tax break based upon age and years of residency. The only comment I would make is that there is no vote expected at the current town meeting relative to the construction of a new high school. The second article is submitted by Mark Nelson, and it is essentially to amend, update, and revise the official map of the town. And again, if there are questions, I'd be happy to respond to the extent that I can. But the third article is submitted by Mark Nelson, and it is an article that would establish a disabled veterans tax work-off program and appropriate a sum of $10,000 for that purpose. The fourth article was submitted by Jen O'Connell, and it would be to purchase town-owned land, references map 61, parcel 6, on Wildwood Street. This is located around 172 Wildwood Street. The next article was submitted by Ellen Sawyer and Jose Carvalho. It would be to rezone from residential 20 to general business property located at 56 and 64 Ballardville Street. That's property on 125 heading towards Andover beyond the North Intermediate School, right beyond the Avalon development on that side, same side of the street, abutting Route 93. The next article was submitted by Mark Nelson, and it would amend the town charter to establish term limits for elected offices. The next citizen's petition is from Michael Bodner, and it would rezone from residential 60 to residential 20, property at 11 Harold Avenue.
That's my brother, Michael. Wow.
Right, but you were the first
I
person.
have nothing to do with that.
Well, you were the number one name on the petition. So the first person on the petition is the petitioner, but certainly, that's okay. I'd be happy to note for the record that it is
All right.
not you, but that's how it was listed on the petition. You were the first signature.
Thank you for
And unless someone gives us information that there's a different petition, that's who the town clerk takes.
Thank you for informing me.
You're welcome. There is another article, this one submitted by George Lingenfelter, and it is to amend the town charter relative to the appointment of town manager. It would eliminate the residency requirement. It actually eliminates a phrase that is a part of one of the sentences where it says, "but shall be a resident of the town during his term of office." That would no longer be required if this were to be adopted. It's an article submitted by Mr. Lingenfelter, which would amend the inhabitant bylaws, specifically Chapter 5, Public Regulations, by adding a new section regarding fencing. And finally, an article submitted by Robert Peterson for a town-owned land purchase, map 44, parcels 166 and 167. Parcels are located on Faneuil Drive. Mr. Chairman, those are the 10 citizen petitions. To the extent you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but as I indicated, the petitioners will have an opportunity to speak to those petition articles in March 15th.
Thank you. Communications.
We have a letter that was sent by the town of Andover, which is somewhat of a follow-up from the last correspondence that we saw where we received a copy of a letter that the Andover Planning Board sent to the Andover Board of Selectmen. This was sent to Frank Tremontazzi, the chief engineer for the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, relative to their position on the Interstate 93 Tri-Town interchange project, and they are supporting the interchange configuration that facilitates the development of land in the Lowell Junction area through the creation of a system of access roads that would become public ways and would support Tewksbury's desire to not provide a direct connection to existing local roadways. It's a similar letter that's been sent to others, except in this case, they also indicate that they are looking for what they refer to as required off-site mitigation measures for Andover neighborhoods, which frankly have little or nothing to do with the interchange project. It's an editorial comment, I guess.
To that point, Mr. Carr, when I read this letter, it all seemed fairly familiar until I turned to page 2.
Right.
And I still, to this, as I'm reading it again, I still don't know why it's there. Do you have any thoughts on?
No, I made it clear in meetings that we've had with the other planners and the managers from the other community, that I don't believe this is apropos or that it's germane to the project at hand. I mean, it would be similar to us, asking them to build a sidewalk by Silver Lake or something, something, it
It seems like they're piggybacking
Really
their
remote.
own internal projects onto some other project.
I can't imagine as it goes through the process, it's going to get any level of support, but I guess that's going to be up to the federal government.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The board has a letter from Peter Katusian, Middlesex Sheriff. As you know, he was appointed recently to become the Middlesex Sheriff after the death of Sheriff Apollo. The governor appointed the former Representative Katusian to this position, and he has written a letter to the members of the Board of Selectmen noting that he was sworn in on January 21st of this year, and he is simply reaching out to the leaders of various communities, including the Board of Selectmen, to indicate that he looks forward to working with you in his new capacity and would welcome any input that you have relative to the role of the Middlesex Sheriff's Office. Board has a letter from Jane Lyman from Comcast. She's the Senior Manager of Government and Community Relations, indicating that there have been changes to certain digital cable packages for Xfinity, which is the Comcast cable service. And these notifications will go out to all of the subscribers, indicating that digital services will only be available to new customers subscribing to Digital Starter, and that includes Digital Preferred Plus 1 Premium, Digital Preferred Plus 2 Premiums, and Digital Premier. They also mentioned that there will be certain changes within the channel lineup as well, and your subscribers again will receive this information. That concludes the regular business before the board, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Public comments?
I just had a couple of quick questions. When reading the warrants for the town meeting, I think you said the town meeting March 15th?
The public hearing is the public hearing for the town meeting. If I did, certainly meant to say that the public hearing for the town meeting is March 15th, and that's when petitioners will have an opportunity to speak.
Thank you. And I couldn't help but think, since there's so much news about earmarks in the news right now, it seems like we have a local earmark that is trying to make its way into law. Thank you, that's all.
Okay, any other public comments? Okay, new business, committee reports.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, at your discretion, at the next meeting or the meeting after, if we could we have the project manager and the high school billing committee at a future meeting so that we can have an open dialogue relative to the high school project at a meeting you see fit?
Sure.
Next two meetings, whenever?
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. We have the town manager here, and Mike, Mr. Newhouse is the liaison on that committee as well, if you guys are up for giving a little report now, if you want to do that, or have the whole committee in, is that what you want to do?
Yeah, we can have the whole committee in at a future meeting at your discretion in the next two meetings if possible. All right?
Yeah, I would just say that the meetings of the high school building committee are public and that people are welcome to attend, and I don't imagine that the members of the committee will object to, providing information to the board and providing that forum. I think that'd be fine, but just so that people know it is public.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
I can only say that the way this meeting went tonight, as fast as it did, it's got to be Valentine's Day.
I was just going to say Happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
That's it.
Now that I remember that it is.
Okay, important dates.
Mr. Chairman, the next date is the Finance Committee meeting tomorrow evening. I'd also want to mention where Selectman McCoy brought up that the school issue, that there is an important meeting tomorrow morning at MSBA headquarters where the 15-member committee, of which there are 3 members from the town of Wilmington and 12 members from the state, will be reviewing formally the 6 design firms that applied to be the designer for the feasibility study, and hopefully we'll be coming away with a selection at that time, and we'll be reporting back. And I'm sure at that, when the committee meets with the project manager at the Selectmen's meeting, they'll be able to hopefully at that point introduce the new design firm. That'll be taking place early tomorrow morning in Boston. Again, the Finance Committee meeting is tomorrow night, February 15th, right here in room 9, and the subject matters will be the Planning and Conservation Departments, the Town Clerk's Office, the Building Inspector and Board of Appeals Office, and the Historical Commission. Then on February 17th, we meet again as a Finance Committee to discuss the Recreation Department budget, the library budget, and the budget for the Veteran Services Office. And then note the residents that February 21st, Monday, the town offices will be closed in recognition of President's Day holiday. And then next week, on February 22nd, there will be an additional Finance Committee meeting here at the Town Hall. That's Tuesday, February 22nd, where we will review the budgets of the public safety offices, the Police Department, the Public Safety Central Dispatch, Animal Control, and the Fire Department. The board's next meeting is February 28th.
That's it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Motion made and second. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you.